Joining me from Plainfield Hardware, the owner of the business, Rich Christiansen, is. By the way, first off, Rich, I want to tell you that thank you for joining the program this morning.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And I wanted to just tell you a couple things that I love your new digs here. You've expanded into partially a deli and have a great selection of Vermont craft beers here. I just had one of your breakfast burritos earlier this morning, and really delicious food you're making here. So it's not only a hardware store, folks. That's the bottom line here. And tell me about a little bit about the business, Rich. You folks acquired it when, and then moved it from the village out to here when?
We bought the business in '99, and we were there for 7 years. So 2006, we moved up here. We were just totally out of space down there.
Yeah. I remember that was a pretty cramped feeling space down there. And so you built this place out here?
We did. There was already a farm market here in the greenhouse, and we kept that, obviously, and built the log cabin to tie into it, and brought our hardware up here, and diversified into a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you've got... you do have some groceries now, and you've got, of course, the hot food that your chef Sarah cooked me up this morning.
Sarah does an excellent job.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. And as I mentioned, the great selection of Vermont and other types of beer in your extensive cabinet here. So it's quite something. Do you find that? Tell me a little bit about your clientele. When people come here, are they mainly looking for hardware still, and they just sort of take advantage of when they see the beer and see the deli food, or is it are people coming here mainly for the food? Tell me about how that works for you now.
You know, there's a lot of people that know the food is here, so they're coming here for the food, and a lot of times take something else out.
Yep.
There's people coming in here for hardware that aren't familiar with us, and they see the beer case. And we hear every day about our selection. And that's the one thing that my wife and I have tried to do, is have as much local and craft stuff that you can get. And so our beer cooler, as far as the domestics, if you look at the ratio, it's not even close. It's mostly crafts.
Right.
And that's what's selling.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, I have a question about that. It may seem to be a bit of a tangent here, but I was just talking with somebody the other day about the craft brewing industry, and in the sense of almost a proliferation now of small craft breweries, and how do they compete for shelf space in a retail outlet like this? I mean, it seems like every week there's a new brewery opening in Vermont. Where are you going to squeeze them in here?
Well, the thing that we do, Michael, our guy that does the beer and wine, he stays right on top of it. And some of these are in for 2 or 3 months, and they kind of wear out, so to speak, and we replace that with a new one. And we're bringing in 4, 5, 6 new items every week in the beer.
Wow.
But with that being said, there's 4 or 5 or 6 probably being worked out eventually. But they kind of just lost their knack. So
you put them in there and see what sells, basically. I'm sure. And after a while, if they start collecting dust, you go, well, that one's not working out.
That's right.
And so there's a bit of experimentation that has to go on in that kind of it's a fascinating part of the retail world to me, though, because there is so so many new entrants on the manufacturing end of it that it really is. It's got to be a shakeout at some point, I would think, but. I don't know. People keep coming into the business.
I don't think there will be. I think it's such a changing business and different types that I don't see the change. I don't see it coming. I maybe I'm wrong, but I think most people that see some of those things, they don't even look at the price. They've got to try it. So.
So tell me about your own. Sort of role or career in the hardware business. You started out with a hardware store in '99 back then, and I think I remember were the previous owners Jerry and
Kathy. Yep.
Kilcourse had the store for years, and real nice folks, and they developed that local clientele in Plainfield. It seems like out here you may get more people from a wider geographic base just because you have more exposure to Route 2 now, right?
Yeah, definitely. We're pulling more people. Well, first of all, we can carry a lot more stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Down there, we were limited, so it was really hard to pull people from the East Montpelier area because they more than likely we didn't have it.
Yep,
And it was easier to head to Montpelier or Barrie or whatever.
Sure,
But I think now we get a lot of these Montpelier people that remember we're here. If they don't drive by every day, they don't always remember. But we get a lot more contractors now because we were able to expand. I think we probably doubled our hardware. Probably roughly doubled.
Yep.
Pretty close to doubled our space. So it was a big addition. It was a big move, and it was scary. And we no more got kind of settled in, and recession hit. And, so it was a struggle, but.
That's and that's got to affect a business like hardware, I would think. I mean, most businesses, but something where you're going to be tied in to some extent with the home construction and renovation industry, and obviously renovations go way down when people are hunkering down economically and so on. So I could feel that, imagine that ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was just dig in and work 7 days a week, and and we got through it. We made it and made it stronger.
How big is the staff here now?
It varies from season. In the springtime there's a lot more, so we range from, in the dead of the winter, maybe seven or eight people up to 14 or 15 people, depending how many hours they're looking for. We try to schedule what fits their hours and what will work for their schedule. And we've got a great crew, best team that I think we've ever had, which is great, and
that must
makes my job much easier.
Yeah, I would imagine. Personnel has got to. I mean, in a business like this, you get some reliable employees, and you have a huge potential headaches removed from your plate right off the bat.
Absolutely.
That is a good thing. And I remember you had a bit of a struggle when you first were opening this place with access to Route 2. You wanted, 2 driveways, and you ended up with one? What was the story there?
Well, there was 2 here, and what the state did at that time was, when they made changes like that, it was when a new owner came in. So we had no choice. It was we were told we had to cut one out, and we did. There was some other stuff going on. There was a lot of other stuff going on. It was quite an ordeal. Everybody did finally settle out and agree on things, and it's mostly working out.
Yeah, okay. I would imagine a business like this, you'd like to have 2, basically an exit or an entrance and an exit, and but you've got to do both in one area now.
There kind of is 2 right now, but they're both way on both ends, and one, technically the second one is a state road that goes to land they own down back, but we had a deeded right away. So
I see. Okay.
So there is 2. A lot of people don't notice it, but there is,
me included, I guess.
But they're both way on the end. So I think a lot of times people that are coming by think they missed the drive and don't even see the second one. So
that's that I'm sure that something to think about. Maybe some redesign at some point if they let you. We'll see what happens there. But it makes for an interesting, exciting life, I'm sure, here at Plainfield Hardware, and I'm loving this business. I just think you guys do a lot of good stuff here. So I'm a fan. Rich Christiansen, I want to thank you so much for coming by this morning, and also for hosting us. It's really nice to stop by your place and chat with some of the folks who were having breakfast here earlier, and so that's great. Thank you so much.
And thanks for having me.